Hello and welcome to Cinematography. I'm Don Perignon and it's Christmas!
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of...
Many people have their own traditions on Christmas, but you know what my family tradition is? We all like to get together around the TV with the Christmas tree all lit up, glass of eggnog in our hands, or in my case a nice brandy, and watch Die Hard.
Hey, motherfucker.
What does that have to do with today's show? Absolutely nothing. I just thought I'd share. Anyway, in the late 80s, there was one thing sweeping the nation. Okay, two things sweeping the nation. Okay, three things sweeping the nation.
I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man.
Robocop, okay? The joke is Robocop.
In 1987, Orion Pictures introduced the world to Robocop, a cybernetic cop in the futuristic city of Detroit. Written by Edward Numero and Mike Miner, and directed by Paul Verhoeven, it was a concept both simple yet genius. Made at a budget of $13 million, the movie brought in a gross of over $50 million in the box office, and the epidemic began. Robocop was everywhere. There was Robocop toys, Robocop video games, Robocop lunchboxes, Robocop cartoons, Robocop comics, t-shirts, ball cap. If there was a market for it, Robocop was attached to it.
Let him try the chicken.
Naturally, with such a cash cow in place, they had to make a second one. At a budget of $30 million, this one only made over $35 million. I think the reason was the second movie seemed a bit more lighthearted compared to the first one.
Behave yourself!
They cleaned up Detroit, removing all the dark tones and grit that make the city look like a cesspool of crime and lawlessness, brightening it up tremendously. It was like looking at old Times Square compared to new Times Square. They even brightened up Robocop from a hard, sullen, metallic grayish color to a crisp, clean, bluish color. You think this would be enough for them to get the hint that the money train was coming to an end and they should go out on top. Then again, if they did, it wouldn't be Hollywood now, would it?
Which brings us to why we're here today. Robocop 3. A movie so terrible that not only do most people not remember that it exists, but the studio itself took a $12 million loss. A clusterfuck so bad that it would live in infamy until... well...
Geez, I wonder who was responsible for this mess.
Fred Drecker. Wait, I know that name. That's the guy who directed Night of the Creeps and Monster Squad and wrote both House movies. And Frank Miller? What the hell happened?
So you don't have disrespect. How far can you take that bullshit? Now it's time to get this shit on. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. All bets are off.
All bets are off. Bang!
some of you out there are saying, but Dom, Robocop isn't a Christmas movie. It wasn't even released during Christmas time. It was released to the summer. To which my answer is, bite me.
So the movie starts out with a commercial about a new city to be built called Delta City.
Imagine an end to crime, an end to poverty. Imagine 2 million good jobs waiting to be filled.
Only in sci-fi and action later.
We then cut to a little girl watching a news report about the crime in Detroit and the sale of OCP to the Japanese.
At least that explains why this exists.
Robocop 変身ネブクロ
Company spokesmen expressed special interest in the delicate issues of urban resettlement.
Issues like the new parking meters replacing the old ones, and whether or not to make the sidewalk 3 feet wider than regulation size.
Apparently with this new sale also comes a new task force called the Detroit Urban Rehabilitation Officers, which many believe are really forcing people out of their homes to make way for the new construction.
Help the people to augment the police force and deal with the gang problem.
What about reports you're actually rousting people from their homes to make way for construction of Delta City?
That's what I just said. We're helping people rehabilitate their lives by kicking them out of their homes and into our concentration camps. Duh.
You too can own all this and more for $19.99 each.
Is it true what the TV said? That it's Warzone outside?
Don't listen to what the TV says. This is your home, hear me? And you're safe here.
Oh my god, the aliens are taking! Run for your life! Actually, it's the URO that's causing the destruction, as they are forcing the people in the neighborhood of Cadillac Heights out of their homes.
Where you can get any Cadillac any time of the year at the same low price.
One woman, I'm sure she'll be important later on, who is an activist, blows up a crane and urges people to stand up for their homes. During all the chaos, a little girl gets separated from her parent. While roaming the streets of what's left of her neighborhood, one of the UROs spot her and chases her when she's grabbed by the activist woman and Milton from Office Space, who turn out to be terrorists.
Oh, there it is. What? Here, let me just go ahead and get that from you. Great.
Rock and roll.
Guess he really wanted that stapler.
They run into Ed Tool 9, which somehow the little girl hacks into, easier than using her Easy Bake Oven.
You have 1 second to comply. I am now authorized to be loyal as a puppy.
With Ed Tool 9 out of the way, they make their way into the OCP's police armory.
Will it work?
Stole it off a dead cop.
Since the car they stole isn't working and it already alerted the authorities, the little girl uses Ed Tool 9 to blast open the door.
You know, these people just grabbed this girl off the street. They didn't promise her anything. Hell, they didn't even introduce themselves. They just dragged her along. So, what's her motivation for helping them?
They grab what they could carry, which isn't much by the way. I don't think this plan was well thought out, and load it into their van, but the security guards arrive before they can pull off.
You are trespassing on police property. East left, suckers.
And now she's assaulting security guards with stolen property. I get the feeling she's going to spend the majority of her life getting to know the inside of a prison cell.
I like how Ed Tool 9 suddenly shrinks as they drive away. If you can't afford to build a life-size model, don't bother trying to use one at all. Officer Lewis, Robocop's partner, is at a donut shop when she gets the call about the break-in. During the pursuit, Lewis and 2 other officers get into an accident and are stuck in a part of Detroit run by a gang called the Splatterpunks. While Robocop picks up the chase, appearing for the first time 15 minutes into the movie.
I guess he was busy taking a robo shit.
Hearing Lois's request for backup, Robo discontinues his pursuit to assist her. I guess someone in marketing decided they needed new toys to sell because now he has removable limbs.
Police officer, no loitering. Maybe next time you want to put the rifle on your right arm. That way you're able to open the fucking car door.
Robocop, the police officer with an enhanced cybernetic body and limited intelligence. After Robocop takes care of the thugs, they're driving through an area that is being rehabilitated in which Robo is recording when they encounter the little girl running into a church. Elsewhere, we find out that the head of OCP is Agent Z, who was being reamed out by the new owner, Master Splinter, over the delays in the Delta City project. Splinter informs him that he plans to send someone over to move things along.
Thus, Robocop versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was born.
Well, I guess I better address this. As you can see, Robocop is not being played by Peter Weller because he was filming Naked Lunch at the time. Instead, Robo is played by Robert Burke, who you might remember from...
Oh, he was in Thinner, and Tombstone. He was in Tombstone as somebody. Oh, and State Property. I'm not making a very good case for this guy, am I?
Anyway, we get the same conflict repeated from the last two movies of OCP seeing Robo as a machine and everyone else seeing him as a person. They want the doctor to install a chip that would get rid of his memories, but she chooses not to. Recognizing the church from a terrorist briefing, Robo and Lewis return there where they find a group of squatters. When the URO arrive to clear the place out, Robo and Lewis try to protect the squatters, which goes as well as an ant trying to stop a moving car. Terrorists show up, helping Robocop and Lewis inside, where Robo records Lewis's last words, and then everyone escapes to an underground tunnel using a secret passageway in the church. When they reach their current hideout, Robocop tells them that there's a tracking device on him, and this 8-year-old girl knows exactly where to find it.
How the hell does she know all this? Was the OCP robot schematics posted on WikiLeaks? Wonder what else they got leaked on there. Let's see. The plans for Delta City, OCP Twinkie recipe, contract sales of research facility to the Umbrella Corporation, instant pubic hair regrowth formula? Why?
With Robocop joining what has now been established as rebels, they blame Lewis's death on him, but everyone is still in a panic.
An OCP spokesperson has confirmed that Robocop has joined the terrorist rebel forces. He is heavily armed and should be considered extremely dangerous. On the
TV off.
Congratulations, sweet cheeks. Now listen up. I want your legendary ass and your corporate ID card in my office by 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah!
The representative from Japan has arrived and is meeting with Agent Z about the situation. And if you're wondering why I keep calling him that instead of his name in the movie, it's because he doesn't have one. He is actually credited as the CEO. Christmas tree! Christmas tree! See? Christmas tree!
And you thought this wasn't a Christmas movie.
Because Robo is severely damaged, they send the little girl to get the doctor chick to help fix him. Elsewhere, the guy from Japan finds the old rebel base, where he runs into a few stragglers, and it is revealed that he is in fact an android.
And thus, Robo Ninja was born.
Bringing the doctor back to the hideout, with the help of all the king's horses and all the king's men, she managed to put Robo back together again. Command.com.
I wonder,
who downstairs?
Oh, I'll be right back.
The little girl goes to see Robocop and tells him that if they can hold out for 2 more days, then OCP can't move them and she gets to see her parents again, not knowing that her parents were killed during the move.
Oh God, what have I done?
Placing a map one of the rebels had on him on top of a Detroit City map, Robo Ninja is able to determine where the rebels' new hideout is.
It'd be really funny if the map was upside down. He spent hours looking in the wrong place.
After the memory of Lewis dying is triggered, Robocop heads down to the police station to take out the URO staging area.
Sorry, you got a Robocop? You got an alien cop? Huh? You got a ghost cop?
Leon, I told you I don't have time.
You got a vampire cop?
Actually, they do have one of those.
Let me get this straight. You think that you're a vampire?
Murphy,
Good evening, Sergeant Reed.
do you know there's a warrant out for your arrest?
Yes.
I was just checking.
After destroying the staging area, he goes after the URO leader named McDaggett, who is getting information from Milton about the location of the hidden rebel base.
Did I mention this Robocop movie is kid-friendly, so he doesn't kill anyone unless they're gang members? That's right, kids. It's okay to kill 16-year-old gang members, but 30-year-old corrupt cops are a no-no.
McDaggett manages to escape with a bomb, I think. I wasn't really paying attention, but I'm pretty sure it was a bomb. That or electronic battleship. Thanks to Milton, the URO launches an attack on the rebel headquarters, killing several of the supporting characters.
Bye, supporting characters. We got to know nothing about you, so we won't miss you.
Later, not wanting to be a part of driving people out of their homes, the entire police force quits and joins the people of Cadillac Heights. So McDaggett is forced to hire the local gangs for extra manpower.
How would you and your friends like to make some money, chum?
The little girl makes her way to the OCP building, hacking into the surveillance system and locates the doctor who had been captured in the raid. Robocop returns to the destroyed hideout where he faces off against Robo Ninja.
Thus, Robocop versus Robo Ninja was born.
Anywho, it's a really lame fight, so we'll just skip it. The little girl finds the doctor, and at this point, the movie turns into an anti-big business PSA. And in case you think I'm reaching on that one, the movie actually says big business are scumbags.
I'm speaking for all the homeless, jobless citizens of this city and every city like it run by heartless, capitalist scumbags who want to their way to never will make that.
Jeez, I'm surprised they didn't play this movie for the 99%er rallies.
It's funny how she wasn't singing that tune when she was receiving steady employment from them.
This brings us to a scene that will forever be engraved in my cerebral cortex. The image of Robocop flying. Ah, 1980s blue screen. How I love to laugh at thee.
Robo flies into the OCP building, literally, where he has to face off against not one, but 2 Robo Ninjas.
Thus, the audience patience had run out.
Robo gets his ass kicked in another lame fight, when the girl and the doctor somehow manage to hack into the Robo Ninjas and reprogram them to fight each other.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Unfortunately, the destruction of the Robo Ninjas activated the bomb.
In 15 seconds, everything within 20 yards of where we're standing will be atomized.
But of course, Robocop gets them out safely.
Well, I gotta hand it to you. What do they call you? Murphy, is it?
My friends call me Murphy. You call me Robocop.
Unless you're an auto parts dealer, then you may call me Inventory. This movie wasn't very good.
So what exactly went wrong with this project? Well, this was clearly one of those cases where the studio meddles in things they shouldn't. From the information I was able to gather, Frank Miller signed up for Robocop 2, and after he wrote the script, it was drastically changed. He later signed up for Robocop 3, hoping to get the script for Robocop 2 finally filmed, only to have it drastically changed again with just the basic plot being used. This explains why we get that Robocop corporate machine human being conflict for a third time. It's kind of a shame too, because it would have been really nice to see what Frank Miller had to offer to Robocop. Then again, this was after he wrote The Dark Knight Returns, so we probably would have got lines like Robocop yelling to the little girl, "I'm the goddamn Robocop." But I guess we'll never really know for sure.
I'm Don Perignon saying Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.